Good morning, children. Welcome to science class. So, in science, we are learning block 22, which is physical changes. And in the previous class, we have learned what are the physical changes. What do you mean by physical changes? And we also learned in physical changes, you have reversible and irreversible changes, isn't it? Irreversible changes means we can't make the original state of that object, and reversible physical changes are the physical changes which we can make it into original state, isn't it, children? So now today we are going to learn the second topic, which is changing state of matter. How does this matter? So we have learned in the previous block that matter is nothing but which has some weight, some mass, and it occupies some space, isn't it? So, whatever we learned, the physical changes is happening to the matter itself, isn't it? Now, this matter is changing into from one form to another form, which is liquids, solids, and gaseous. We have learned in the previous block, isn't it, children? Matter can be in different states, we have learned. One is solids, liquids, and gases. And we also learned how the particles are different, small particles are different in these three states, isn't it? So now we will learn how this changes, how this solid becomes liquid, liquid becomes gas, and gas becomes liquid again. All these changes we will learn. How does it change? Okay, so matter can be changed from one state to other, either by heating or by cooling. Okay, we should heat the object to change its state, or we have to cool it down to change its state. Okay, so please open your science content book, children, and turn to page number 137. 137. Okay, so these changes, when we are converting from one state to another, these are physical and also they are reversible. Okay, we are not learning about irreversible because we can't make it to other the previous state, isn't it, children? That's why these are reversible. Okay, so in that, first you can see a melting is a process in which the solid becomes liquid. And how it becomes because of the heat. See, if an object should be in a solid state, it should be in the freezing temperature, it should be very cold temperature. So when the temperature becomes normal, then it starts to melt like your ice cream. So when it is in freezer, it will be solid. When you take out and while you are eating, it melts slowly, isn't it, children? That's why we need to eat fast sometimes. Yes, and also your ice cubes, when you fill it with water and keep it in the freezer the ice cubes becomes solid, isn't it? And when you take it out and keep it at the room temperature in the room, then it slowly starts to melt and it converts into water. That means solid is becoming the liquid, ice cube is becoming water, liquid state, isn't it, children? So that is called melting, which is nothing but where the solid becomes liquid using heat. See, here we are not literally heating anything, we are not keeping in the stove, but when you are increasing the temperature, when it is very less temperature, it is turning into ice. When the temperature is increased, then it is melting, which is nothing but it is turning into liquid. Okay, so example, melting the butter or ice cream, chocolates also melt when they are outside the freezer, isn't it, children? Yes, so that is melting. And also the iron, the gold, can you see in your content book also, the iron, they are applying some heat and they are melting it, that solid is becoming liquid, isn't it? Sometimes we need to give some, that means little heat so that it melts. Okay, the gold also, the gold ornaments, how do you get it will be in the form of an ore that is made into a shape of a rectangle, or we can say cuboid biscuits we say. So from that they'll again heat it up, and then they'll give it a shape. After giving a shape, again it becomes solid. Okay, so that is melting. Okay, children, next you have evaporation, where the liquid changes into gas. Okay, and children, do remember, evaporation is a natural process. Okay, it happens naturally, we did not to give any external heating. It's because of the heat of the sun the water evaporates. Okay, so that is evaporation. It is a natural process where liquid changes into gas. Okay, so water from the water bodies like seas, oceans, rivers, lake, in the summer the water gets evaporated, isn't it, children? That is evaporation. It's a natural process. It is because of the heat of the sun. Okay, next you have freezing. Freezing is when the liquid changes into solid. Okay, by what? By cooling. We are reducing the temperature and the climate becomes cold, and because of that the liquid, the water, will be changing into solids like ice cube. Okay, when you take your water and keep it in your freezer, there the temperature is very less. That means it is cooling, isn't it? So at that point the water changes into ice. Okay, so that is freezing. That means liquid changing into solid on cooling is called freezing. Okay, next you have condensation. So condensation is nothing but when the gas converts into liquids. Okay, when a gas converts into liquid or solid, it is called as condensation. Generally converting into solid is little difficult, children. Generally it converts into liquid. A gas converts into liquid on cooling. That is called condensation. Okay, so it is a process where the gas converts into liquid. How you can see when you cook the rice or when you boil the water, the steam comes out. That means the water is converting into steam. The liquid is converting into gas, isn't it? So that is boiling. We are boiling, so that is boiling. And when you place a lid on the steam, when the steam touches the lid, it starts to form small droplets, isn't it? That means the steam is converting into water when it is cooling, isn't it? So that is called condensation. Okay, by cooling, we are cooling it down with the cool lid. So the lid is not heated, right? It is cool. So when it touches the cool surface, it starts to condense. Okay, the vapor starts to form droplets. So that is called condensation. And you have sublimation. Sublimation, where the solid converts into gas. Okay, how can it convert? Actually solid converts into liquid, then from liquid it converts into gas, isn't it, children? First it should be melting, then evaporation, then that is called, that is when the solid converts into gas. No, sometimes the solid directly converts into gas without converting into liquid. That is called sublimation. Okay, that is called sublimation. Okay, for example, the naphthenic balls. You can ask your mother to show what is a naphthenic ball. It's like a medicine to which we keep it in the almaras to protect our clothes from the insects. Okay, so these naphthalene balls, they'll be in the solid state, which are white in color. They directly convert into gas. They don't convert into liquid. So that is called sublimation. Okay, so we have learned about melting, evaporation, freezing, condensation, and also sublimation. Now we have boiling, vaporization. So it is similar to evaporation, but here we will be providing the heat. Okay, in which the liquid changes into gas. Just now we have learned condensation, isn't it? So when we heat the water, the vapor starts. That means we have learned that liquid is converting into steam. Okay, that is boiling, or it is called as vaporization. Okay, vaporization, when we give the heat, when we provide with the heat, then it is boiling. Okay, children. So boiling the water, you can cook things while using boiling, isn't it, children? You boil the eggs to make it boiled eggs, isn't it? You boil the potatoes also, you boil the rice also, dal also. So with the help of boiling, why? Because the water will be heated, and with that heat the food get boiled. Okay, so that is boiling, children. Okay, if you turn your page to 138, you can see the solids, how what happens. So the solid are, the particles are tightly packed, isn't it? So when they are melting, the particles will be slowly moving away. It's in liquid state. No, liquid state, it will be little far, the particles will be far, isn't it? And it, when we start to evaporate it, when we start to boil it, it becomes gaseous, the particles becomes very far apart from each other, isn't it? And when we start condensing it, then again the gas, the particles will come closer to form liquids. And from liquids, if you freeze it again in the, at the very low temperature, then the particles become very close and becomes a solid. Okay, now you understood how the particles change with these heating, melting, freezing, condensation, boiling. Yes, so in this way it happens, children. Okay, so this is our topic for today, children. I have given few keywords in your daily schedule. Please learn them and write it in your classwork and underline in your content book. Okay, and if you find any other word which is difficult, you can include in your keywords and learn them. Okay, coming to your question answers. Define melting and freezing. So melting is when a solid converts into liquid. By what? On heating. Isn't it? That is melting. Freezing is cooling, isn't it, children? Where the liquid changes into solid on cooling. That is called freezing. Don't get confused in this concept, children. If you see one, take one example and include in all, then you will understand. Take an example of water, make boil it, it becomes vaporization. So from solid to liquid it becomes, then it is melting. And then if you heat it, if you heat the water, then it starts to vapor, it starts into water vapor, it turns into water vapor. That is called heating or boiling, vaporization. Okay, when you condense it, when you cool it down, then it becomes, that steam becomes water, that is condensation. Okay, again if you place that water in a freezer, then it becomes solid, that is called freezing. Okay, understand the difference, it will be easy. Okay, and sublimation is nothing but a solid changes into gas. Okay, children, don't get confused. Okay, so write this answer in your classwork and please learn it, children. Coming to your next question, what is sublimation? Give any two examples of sublimation. Okay, so here in this process, what changes into what? The solid changes into vapor, that is gas. Okay, without changing into liquid, that is called sublimation. Camphor and naphthalene balls undergo sublimation. Okay, two examples. Coming to your next question, when we spray perfume, it soon disappears. What is the process called? How is it different from boiling? See, when you use your perfume, you press it and the liquid comes out and gets onto our clothes. But can you see the wetness? Can you feel any wetness because of that liquid state? No. Why? Because of evaporation. The water, the liquid evaporates. And why how it is evaporating without any heat? It's because of the heat. Okay, it is evaporation. We are not giving any external heat, it's by itself it's evaporating. It is a natural process, isn't it, children? So evaporation is a natural process in which it doesn't need external heat. Okay, so write these three answers in your classwork and please learn it, children. Coming to your homework, complete the volume book. You have 2 pages. Volume book 3, page number 29 and 30. In 29, you have S2, change in state, heating. So what all you will heat? Boiling, isn't it, children? And evaporation is also heating, but we don't prefer. It is a natural process. And in page number 30, S3, change in state in cooling. Cooling means condensation and freezing you will get. Heating means melting and boiling or vaporization, we can say. Evaporation is also included, but it is a natural process. Okay, so complete this work, children. So tomorrow we will learn about, in the next class we will learn about the expansion and contraction of the material particles. Okay, so see you in the next class, children. Bye.